Have you ever wondered why some people never truly miss you until you stop speaking, stop showing up, stop being a part of their everyday noise? It's a question that cuts deep into the fabric of human connection. Why does absence speak so much louder than presence? Most of us fall into a common misconception. We believe that if someone truly cares, they'll shout it from the rooftops right away. We expect tears, frantic calls, or at least some desperate message. But what if the truth is far more subtle and far more profound? What if real missing doesn't show up in clamor, but in silence? An echo that reverberates through empty spaces where once there was laughter, warmth, and presence. This misunderstanding has left many stuck, chasing reactions and proof, while missing the power that comes from stillness and silence. This isn't about empty gestures or loud dramas. It's about the transformative moment when your absence shifts from unnoticed to undeniable. The moment when silence becomes the loudest truth they ever hear. Here's the catch. Most people never prepare for this kind of missing. They aren't ready for the quiet collapse of routine or the deep ache of what's gone unspoken. And that's precisely why this day, the day they finally start missing you, is so powerful. It isn't the day you leave or the day you argue. It's the day your silence becomes unshakable. It's the day they realize what was lost was never just you, but a rare kind of presence, a unique energy, a steady peace they took for granted. This is a secret many never learn, and one that can change everything about how you navigate stoic relationships and personal boundaries. Imagine the power in that. To choose silence not as a surrender, but as a revolution. To understand that true strength is not in noise, but in calm clarity. To know that walking away isn't weakness, but an evolution of self-worth. Are you ready to see how this silence, this stillness, can become the greatest teacher and the loudest message? To embrace a path where you no longer need to prove your value because you embody it. Today, we unpack the layers of absence, presence, and transformation in relationships through the lens of Stoicism, and reveal how this very day marks a turning point, not for them, but for you. Stay close, because what you're about to discover will not only change how you view missing and presence, but how you understand your own power within Stoic relationships and life itself. This isn't about drama or chasing validation. It's about authentic, lasting peace and growth. Are you ready to own your silence, to let it speak volumes? Then let's begin. 1. The silent break, when silence speaks louder than words. Have you ever noticed how silence can be more deafening than the loudest argument? How sometimes the absence of a word or a gesture carries more weight than any apology or explanation ever could. In relationships, particularly those governed by deep emotions and unspoken connections, silence is not merely the absence of sound. It is a language, a verdict, and a reflection of something far greater than any phrase uttered in haste. The day they finally start missing you is not marked by the clamor of broken conversations or the storm of tears. It is defined by a quiet, resolute silence that demands more attention than any shout ever could. You see, many believe that missing someone is obvious, immediate, and easy to recognize. But Stoicism teaches us to look deeper. It challenges us to see beyond surface emotions and recognize the true indicators of change and growth. So, what is it about silence that makes it so powerful? Why does the absence of words or presence cut sharper than any spoken sorrow? The answer lies in the realization that silence is not passive. It is intentional. It is a conscious withdrawal of energy, a deliberate refusal to engage in the endless cycle of reaction and performance. When you choose silence, you are no longer feeding the game. You are stepping outside of their control and reclaiming your peace. This is the first real break, the moment when your quiet becomes their loudest truth. Consider how many times you or someone else might have masked true feelings, Behind a smile, a joke, or a distracting story, it is human nature to hide discomfort beneath performance, to avoid confronting pain by filling spaces with noise. But noise can only deceive for so long. When the distractions fade, when the constant chatter stops, that silence is what remains. And it speaks volumes. It forces reflection, awakens doubt, and cracks the illusion that everything is fine. The day they finally start missing you is not the day you say goodbye or walk away, but the day they realize your presence is no longer an automatic part of their world. It is when their pride finally gives way to the subtle pangs of absence, the first tremors of loss they never expected to feel. In Stoic relationships, this moment is crucial because it reveals the truth about value, presence, and alignment. It exposes the difference between someone who merely occupies space and someone who embodies peace and consistency. When silence replaces your voice, the room feels colder, not because it lacks noise, but because it lacks the steady energy you once provided. The absence is felt deeply because it is not just about losing a person, it is about losing a presence that anchored their emotional landscape. Have you ever walked into a room that once brimmed with laughter and warmth, only to find it eerily quiet? The energy shifted. That is the space silence creates, a void that cannot be filled by superficial replacements or forced interactions. It is an uncomfortable truth they cannot ignore, a reflection of the calm they once took for granted. They might try to convince themselves that silence is anger, a phase, or just distance that time will heal. But silence, especially in the context of Stoicism, is none of these things. It is a disciplined choice, a testament to self-mastery and inner peace. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that the quality of our mind depends on what we focus on and choosing. Silence over reaction is a profound way of asserting control over one's own spirit. So when they reach for your energy out of habit and find nothing there, the shock is not because you are gone, but because you are no longer available to be manipulated or relied upon. This is the rupture, the shift from being a safety net to becoming a boundary. They didn't miss you when you left. They only missed the idea of you being perpetually there to soothe their chaos. Have you noticed how, in moments of absence, people often post stories, laugh a little too loud, or flirt with others as if to prove they are unaffected? These are performances, not expressions of true missing. The real feeling emerges not in noise, but in the quiet spaces where distraction no longer works. The truth emerges in the echo of silence. What does this teach us about human nature and our attachments? It reveals that much of what we call connection is habit and comfort, not always genuine appreciation. It challenges us to question whether we value people for who they are or just for the emotional convenience they provide. Stoicism offers clarity here. True value is not dependent on external validation or constant presence, but on alignment with one's principles and inner peace. When you embody this, your silence is not absence, but presence in its purest form, a presence that demands respect without a single word. Have you ever considered that missing someone deeply can be invisible to the world, but profoundly transformative? Internally, that the absence you create by stepping back can trigger self-reflection and growth in others, even if they never admit it. This silent break is not a failure or defeat. It is a powerful assertion of your worth and boundaries. It invites them to confront what they truly lost and whether they are willing or able to value it. The question becomes, are they ready to see beyond pride and distractions to face the quiet truth of your absence? The silence is both a mirror and a teacher, reflecting back what was never truly seen and forcing uncomfortable questions. Did I take this for granted? Was I aligned with their presence or just comfortable with the routine? Can I reclaim my peace without relying on their energy? This silent break is a test of Stoic relationships, where the strength lies not in emotional outbursts, but in calm clarity and self-control. It is here that your power grows, because silence cannot be bargained with or broken down by ego. It stands firm, unyielding, and honest. The more they try to fill the void with noise or distraction, the more the silence persists, growing louder in its unspoken message. In this way, silence becomes a revolution, a profound shift in energy that reshapes dynamics and awakens new awareness. It forces both parties to reevaluate not just the relationship, but their own emotional resilience and growth. So ask yourself, when was the last time you truly embraced silence as a tool of strength rather than a sign of weakness? When did you stop chasing reactions and start mastering your peace? What would happen if you allowed silence to be your loudest statement, your truest presence? The day they finally start missing you is a milestone on this path of stoicism and self-mastery. It marks a departure from drama, chasing and proving, and a step into grounded evolution. It's not about revenge or making them suffer, but about reclaiming your energy and living in alignment with your values. In this silent break, you embody the highest form of freedom, the freedom to be calm, clear, and unshakable regardless of external chaos. This, my friends, is the first ripple in a powerful transformation, one that will unfold through absence, reflection, and growth. The question is, will you hold your peace in silence or return to the noise? Will you let absence be a lesson or a void? The power is in your hands, and the silent break is where it all begins. 2. The routine collapse, missing the unseen presence. Have you ever noticed how much of our emotional lives are wrapped up in routine? Those small, seemingly insignificant habits that stitch together the fabric of daily existence. The morning texts, the shared laughter over coffee, the little check-ins that don't feel like obligations but lifelines. When someone who was once a steady presence steps away, it's not just the big moments they miss. It's the quiet rhythm, the unnoticed flow of their energy, syncing with theirs day after day. Stoicism teaches us that we often overlook what is constant until it is gone. This day, the day they finally start missing you, is the day the rhythm breaks. It's not marked by drama or confrontation, but by an unsettling dissonance in the pattern they once took for granted. Imagine someone who has built a house brick by brick with your energy. Every message sent, every joke shared, every silent comfort given without words was a brick in that structure. For a long time it stood strong, stable, familiar. But remove the person who laid those bricks every day, and though the house doesn't fall immediately, it begins to lean, crack, and weaken in the quiet. This collapse doesn't happen overnight. It creeps in slowly, almost imperceptibly, like a thread being pulled from a sweater, tug after tug, until the whole thing unravels. At first, they might scroll through their day thinking, no message today, that's fine, maybe later. But the days add up, the texts don't come, the jokes lose their audience. They post stories, hoping for a glance or reaction. But silence answers them back. This slow disintegration creates a profound emptiness, a void, filled not by loud regret, but by quiet realization. What happens when they instinctively reach for their phone to send you something small, a meme, a song, a simple "thinking of you," and pause because they remember the silence on the other side? This is the moment that triggers an internal collapse, a subtle shift from denial to awareness. They don't just miss the attention, they miss the presence, the heartbeat that once kept their days steady. Have you ever thought about how much your energy anchors others without you realizing it? How often do we underestimate the power of consistency in Stoic relationships? The invisible ties that bind us through simple, steady acts of being present. This is the missing piece. No one talks about the unseen presence that's more than just being physically there. It's about emotional availability, a calm in the storm, a mirror reflecting peace and stability. When that disappears, the world feels off balance. In those moments, they might try to replace you, to fill the silence with new voices, new faces, new distractions. But no matter how many new people come into their life, something feels different, too loud, too shallow, too fast. They might laugh, date, or post, but the rhythm never quite syncs. Why? Because Stoicism teaches us that true connection is not about volume or frequency, but about alignment, shared values, consistent energy, authentic presence. The routines you created were more than habits. They were the steady drumbeat in their life. Now that beat is missing, and with it goes a sense of safety and clarity they can't easily replicate. This slow unraveling is a painful lesson in attachment and value. It forces them to confront the reality that what they thought was permanent was actually fragile. That your presence was not a given, but a gift. And when that gift is withdrawn, the illusion of control shatters. Have you ever asked yourself how much you unconsciously stabilize others around you simply by showing up, not loudly but consistently? How much peace you offer simply by being aligned with your own values and boundaries? This is the power of Stoicism in relationships, to be steady, grounded, and to let your presence be the rhythm others come to rely on. But it also reminds us that such presence is not meant to be taken for granted. When it disappears, it reveals what was never truly appreciated. What's fascinating is how often this collapse unfolds quietly, without grand declarations or dramatic goodbyes. Instead, it's marked by empty chairs at familiar places, unchecked messages, and stories left unviewed. It's in the little things, the missing good morning text, the absent check-in, the laughter that no longer lands the same. This routine collapse is a mirror reflecting not just the loss of another person, but the loss of a shared emotional ecosystem. They don't miss you as much as they miss the version of themselves that only existed in your presence. The calm, the clarity, the peace. Stoicism reminds us that external events don't disturb us, but our opinions about them do. When the rhythm breaks, their perspective shifts. They see not just your absence, but their own dependence and lack of alignment. This realization can be uncomfortable, even painful. It forces questions they may have never asked. Did I really value what was given? Was I present in the way I expected others to be? Am I now ready to build something new on a foundation that won't crumble in silence? For you, this day is a testament to growth. It's a moment to witness how your peace affects others, not by control or drama, but by absence and boundary. It's the quiet victory of choosing yourself over chaos, clarity over confusion. And while they grapple with the missing rhythm, you move forward grounded in your Stoic practice, understanding that true connection is rooted in virtue, not dependency. So what happens next? The day they finally start missing you leads into deeper awakenings. They begin to see that no substitute, no distraction, no new connection can replicate the rhythm you set. This absence becomes a catalyst for their own reflection and growth, or for some, a painful reminder of what they lost. And that is the bittersweet beauty of Stoic relationships. The recognition that sometimes missing is not about loss alone, but about the space left for healing and realignment. As you hold your peace in this silence, know that you are teaching a powerful lesson, not through words, but through your steady absence. You embody the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, who reminded us to focus on what lies within our control and to accept the rest with grace. This routine collapse is their wake-up call, a moment of reckoning that no amount of noise can drown out. It's a reminder that presence is a sacred energy, not a given. It's the foundation of peace and the measure of true connection. And so, as you navigate this space, remember that your silence is not empty. It is filled with purpose, clarity, and strength. It is a quiet revolution, an evolution of self that redefines what it means to be present in Stoic relationships. If you resonate with this journey and understand the power of steady presence and the impact of absence, like this video and comment number 1 to show your support. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights on Stoicism and how to master your energy in relationships. Your journey to peace and growth continues here. 3. The illusion of replacement. Why no one feels like you. Have you ever watched someone try to replace what was once rare and irreplaceable, only to realize that no matter how many faces, voices, or distractions come their way, none can truly fill the space left behind? This is a profound lesson in Stoicism and the nature of human connection, that presence cannot be duplicated, energy cannot be cloned, and authentic connection cannot be faked. The day they finally start missing you is often preceded by a flurry of attempts to replace, distract, and move on. Yet deep within, they sense the emptiness that follows. It's like trying to drink from a well and then switching to a shallow stream, or swapping gold for glitter, bright and tempting at first glance, but ultimately leaving the soul parched. This illusion of replacement is one of the most deceptive traps in relationships. It fools the mind with surface-level satisfaction, but fails to nourish the heart. They post pictures, attend events, laugh with new people, and create new memories. But there is a hollow echo that shadows their actions. Why does this happen? Why can't someone simply replace what you offered with ease? Stoicism provides insight. Here, it teaches us that the quality of our internal life depends not on external circumstances, but on the depth and virtue of our character. The connection you forged was not just emotional, it was a meeting of values, a shared rhythm, a stable presence. Such things cannot be copied or transplanted. When they reach for substitutes, they are reaching for shadows, not substance. This illusion is often sustained by pride and denial. They tell themselves they have moved on quickly, that they are fine, that the past is behind them. Yet the quiet moments betray the truth. The laughter that doesn't quite land, the conversations that feel scripted, the smiles that hide a restless heart, all reveal the gap no one else can fill. This gap is not about you, but about their need for alignment and peace. Something only you could provide in the way you did. They might chase attention, new excitement, or shallow thrills, but Stoicism reminds us that true contentment cannot be found in external validation. Epictetus said, "It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them." The illusion of replacement is exactly that, an opinion, a story we tell ourselves to avoid facing the deeper loss. But eventually, the story unravels. The new faces become just people, the new conversations just noise, and the absence of your unique presence becomes a silent teacher. This is when the weight of missing you truly settles in, not as a fleeting pang, but as a deep, persistent ache. Have you ever experienced this in your own life? Tried to move on quickly only to find yourself haunted by the memory of someone who wasn't just a chapter, but a whole volume of peace and presence. This is the paradox of Stoic relationships. The more we grow in virtue and presence, the harder it is to be replaced, because what we embody is rare, grounded, and unshakable. They might think they want to replace you to ease the pain, but what they truly seek is the alignment and calm that only you offered. This brings us to a crucial Stoic truth. Growth and healing are not about replacing, but about transcending. When they fail to replace you, it forces them to face the reality of their own emotional state and their role in the relationship's dynamic. It's a moment of reckoning that often leads to discomfort, but also opportunity. Do they choose to grow in alignment with what was lost, or do they continue to chase illusions that offer no real peace? This is not a judgment, but an invitation for reflection. What about you? Have you ever tried to fill a void left by someone important, only to realize no replacement sufficed because the essence was never just in presence, but in authenticity? How often do we confuse company for connection, noise for meaning, and volume for value? Stoicism teaches us to discern these differences with clarity and courage. It reminds us that true connection is rare because it is rooted in virtue, consistency, and peace, qualities that cannot be faked or hurried. When you embody these qualities, you become irreplaceable, not because you demand it, but because you reflect a kind of calm energy that others subconsciously recognize as a mirror of their own potential peace. And here is the bittersweet power of this realization. They don't miss you as a person to control or manipulate. They miss the version of themselves they only felt safe enough to be around you. This missing is not about possession, but about alignment. It is a silent longing for the peace they lost when your presence withdrew. What does this teach us about human attachment? That we often fall in love, not just with another person, but with how they allow us to be ourselves, without masks, without pretenses. When that safe space disappears, the yearning that follows is for a home lost, not merely a person gone. And that, my friends, is the profound silence behind missing someone deeply in Stoic relationships. They might try to convince themselves that time will heal all wounds, or that new connections will fill the gap. But Stoicism teaches us that time alone does not heal. Only wisdom, virtue, and self-mastery do. The illusion of replacement fades when faced with the steady reality of internal growth and alignment. When they finally stop running from the truth, they start to see that no one else can embody the peace and presence you gave so freely. This is why true missing is so powerful. It's not about the past, but about the gap between who they are and who they could be. It's about the silence that calls them toward growth or leaves them in restless longing. As you reflect on this, consider your own role in Stoic relationships. Are you present as a source of peace and alignment? Or are you a temporary distraction in someone's chaotic life? How does your presence or absence shape others' growth? The day they finally start missing you is a testament not just to loss, but to transformation. A sign that your energy was not wasted, but planted seeds of reflection and potential change. This is the essence of Stoicism in relationships. The understanding that connection is not about control or possession, but about shared growth and mutual respect. So when you see others trying to replace what you offered, remember that their struggle is not a reflection of your value, but of their journey toward alignment. They might stumble, get lost in illusions, or deny their feelings, but the silent truth remains. Presence rooted in virtue cannot be imitated or replaced. It endures beyond absence and becomes a standard against which all else is measured. This is your quiet strength and your lasting legacy in Stoic relationships. As you continue on your path, let this awareness guide your choices. Be the calm in the storm, the steady presence, the reflection of virtue and peace, and know that the day they finally start missing you is not an ending, but a sign of profound awakening, both for them and for you. 4. The emotional trigger, memories that haunt in silence. Have you ever experienced how a sudden, seemingly insignificant memory can break through the strongest walls of denial and distraction? How a scent, a song, a phrase, or even a random place can trigger a flood of emotions you thought were long buried. This is the power of emotional triggers, the silent echoes of presence that haunt the spaces left behind when someone important is gone. The day they finally start missing you is often not marked by grand declarations or tearful confrontations, but by these quiet, unbidden moments of remembrance that catch them off guard and crack their carefully maintained facade. Stoicism teaches us that external events do not disturb us. Rather, it is our judgment about those events that shapes our experience. Yet, these triggers bypass rational judgment, striking directly at the heart, forcing confrontation with what was never truly resolved or appreciated. Imagine someone walking through a grocery store and instinctively reaching for the snack you once loved, only to be jolted by the sudden clarity that you're no longer there. Or hearing a song on the radio that you used to play together, the melody carrying not just notes, but the weight of absence. These moments are like cracks in a dam, allowing the silent current of missing you to rush in unexpectedly and with overwhelming force. What makes these triggers so powerful is their unpredictability. They arrive not at convenient times or in controlled settings, but in the middle of ordinary days when defenses are down and distraction is minimal. They shatter the illusion that time heals all wounds in a linear fashion and remind us that emotional healing is often non-linear, jagged, and ongoing. Have you ever been caught off guard by a memory that stung unexpectedly? This is a universal experience, and it underscores a critical truth about Stoic relationships. That presence is not just about physical proximity, but about the imprint left on the nervous system, the subconscious, and the heart. These emotional triggers serve as reminders that what was shared was real, meaningful, and deeply impactful. They cannot be erased or replaced because they are woven into the fabric of memory and identity. This is why the day they finally start missing you is so potent. It is the day the past reaches out, not with noise, but with haunting silence, breaking through the surface calm to reveal the depth of loss. How often do we underestimate the power of memory in shaping our present emotions and future choices? Stoicism encourages us to cultivate awareness of these internal states without being overwhelmed by them, to observe memories as they arise and pass without clinging or aversion. But even the wisest among us can be caught off guard by the sudden rush of a deeply embedded memory that disrupts our equilibrium. This disruption is a test of emotional resilience and self-mastery. They might try to suppress the feelings, distract themselves with noise or busyness, or rationalize the pain away. Yet these efforts often only delay the inevitable confrontation with their own emotions. The day these triggers hit is the day the silence of your absence becomes a living presence, a ghost that walks beside them in moments of solitude and reflection. They might find themselves staring at their phone, tempted to type your name, only to hesitate and pull back, held captive by pride or fear. This tension between longing and restraint is a profound emotional struggle that many endure in Stoic relationships without acknowledgement. It reveals the complexity of missing, not just a person, but a version of themselves they only accessed through you. This is the crux of authentic connection. It is not just about who we lose, but about the parts of ourselves that were reflected and nurtured in that relationship. The emotional trigger is a doorway to deeper understanding and potential growth if approached with courage and wisdom. Stoicism invites us to embrace these moments, not as weaknesses, but as opportunities to practice acceptance and to cultivate inner strength. Instead of resisting the pain, they can learn to observe it, understand its source, and let it pass without being consumed. But this process requires time, patience, and self-compassion, qualities that are often hard to summon when memories come crashing in uninvited. Have you ever wondered how memories shape not only our past, but also our present and future emotional landscapes? How the echoes of what was once peaceful and true can ripple through time, influencing our thoughts, decisions, and even our capacity for new connections. This is the invisible thread that ties the day they finally start missing you to their ongoing journey of healing and self-awareness. These triggers remind them that healing is not about forgetting, but about integrating the past into a wiser, more resilient self. And here lies the paradox. The very memories that haunt can also become sources of strength if they are faced with honesty and equanimity. They teach us about what we valued, what we lost, and what we must protect in future. Relationships. They call us to cultivate presence, alignment, and authenticity, qualities that define Stoic relationships. As you reflect on this, consider your own memories, those moments that unexpectedly stir your emotions and test your resolve. How do you respond to these triggers? Do you allow them to disrupt your peace, or do you use them as mirrors for growth? And self-mastery. The day they finally start missing you is not just about their loss, but about your ongoing influence as a beacon of peace and virtue. Your presence, even in absence, continues to shape their inner world and challenges them to grow beyond past patterns. This is the power of Stoicism in relationships, not to control others, but to embody a calm strength that endures beyond physical presence. So, if this resonates with you, and you appreciate the wisdom found in embracing silence and memory as teachers, like this video and comment number 1 if you feel this message. Don't forget to subscribe to stay connected as we explore more profound insights into Stoicism and the art of emotional mastery in relationships. Your journey toward deeper understanding and peace continues here. 5. The power of stillness, gaining strength through non-reaction. Have you ever realized that true power often lies not in what you say, but in what you choose not to say? That sometimes the most profound statement is made through silence, through the refusal to react to provocation, drama, or attempts to unsettle your peace? This is the essence of stillness, the calm strength that Stoicism teaches us to cultivate amid chaos. The day they finally start missing you is not just marked by your absence, but by your stillness, your refusal to engage in the emotional tug-of-war that once defined the relationship. In a world obsessed with noise, reaction, and constant validation, stillness becomes a revolutionary act. It is a declaration that you are no longer available to be manipulated or disturbed by others' attempts to control the emotional temperature. Have you ever noticed how some people thrive on reaction, how they depend on emotional bait to feel alive or important? This dynamic creates a cycle of chaos and dependency where peace is sacrificed for the illusion of connection. But when you choose stillness, when you stop feeding into this cycle, you reclaim your power. You embody the Stoic ideal of apatheia, not the absence of emotion, but mastery over reaction and disturbance. Marcus Aurelius urged us to be like a rock that remains unmoved by the waves crashing against it, and this is exactly what stillness looks like in practice. The day you stop reacting becomes the day they truly feel the weight of your presence. Not as a voice or a force, but as a grounded energy that cannot be swayed. This lack of reaction disrupts their expectations and challenges, the very foundation of control they once believed they had. They send breadcrumb texts, post vague stories, or reach out with tentative hope, expecting the familiar response that once fed their ego or soothed their doubt. But when nothing comes, when your silence remains steadfast, the game changes. This is when their confidence cracks, not because you said something powerful, but because you said nothing at all. Silence, in this form, is a powerful message, a refusal to play their game, a boundary drawn with quiet strength. Have you ever felt the internal peace that comes with not engaging in unnecessary conflict or emotional drama? That sensation of calm amid storms, the clarity that arises when you choose your responses deliberately rather than impulsively. This is the foundation of emotional self-mastery. It is the highest form of freedom that Stoicism promises, the freedom to remain, unshaken by external chaos. But stillness is not passivity or weakness. It requires courage and discipline to hold your ground without reaction, to resist the urge to explain, justify, or chase. It means embracing the discomfort of silence, knowing that true power often looks like absence and stillness to those who misunderstand it. Epictetus reminded us that it is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. When your opinion of their provocations becomes silent, indifferent, and controlled, their attempts lose meaning and impact. This loss of control unsettles them deeply because they thrived on emotional responses as proof of connection or influence. They might try louder, harder, more desperate tactics, but the stillness does not budge. It is like a mountain that stands firm against the wind, not because it resists, but because it is grounded in unshakable roots. Have you considered how your silence and stillness might be reshaping the emotional landscape around you? How your refusal to react disrupts old patterns and invites new dynamics? The day they finally start missing you is also the day they begin to realize they no longer hold power over your emotions. This is a terrifying realization for someone who depended on your reactions to feel secure or in control. It forces them to confront their own dependency and emotional immaturity. And this confrontation often comes with discomfort, confusion, and fear. But for you, stillness is liberation, a space where you can cultivate peace without being dragged into chaos. It is the practice of Stoicism in its purest form, mastering yourself in the face of external disorder. This stillness becomes your armor and your statement. It says, without words, that you are no longer playing the old game, that you have risen above neediness, drama, and emotional manipulation. In Stoic relationships, this power is transformative. It changes the way others perceive you, not as someone to be pushed or pulled, but as someone who embodies peace and clarity. And this perception shift is often the moment when missing begins, in earnest, because presence is not just physical proximity or verbal interaction. It is the energy you carry and the boundaries you uphold. When your stillness becomes unyielding, it creates a void that no amount of noise can fill. It forces reflection and reckoning. They might try distractions, new connections, or louder posts, but none can break the quiet strength you have built. Have you ever asked yourself what it means to be truly unshakable? To carry peace as your default state, regardless of external chaos? This is the ultimate goal of Stoicism: freedom from disturbance and the cultivation of inner fortress. It is a state where your silence speaks louder than any argument, where your non-reaction is a revolution that rattles the foundations of old dynamics. This power is not given but earned through daily practice, discipline, and self-awareness. It requires humility to accept what is beyond your control and courage to stand firm in what is within your control, your own responses. As you reflect on this, consider how stillness has played a role in your relationships. Have you experienced moments where choosing silence transformed the dynamic? When your calmness disarmed conflict, or when non-reaction spoke volumes? The day they finally start missing you is often the day you become truly untouchable, not through distance alone, but through the strength of your stillness. It is a powerful reminder that in Stoic relationships, the greatest influence often comes from mastery over oneself rather than mastery over others. So, as you walk this path, embrace the power of stillness. Let your calm be your message, and your silence your statement. Understand that true missing begins when your energy is no longer available to be stirred or shaken. This is your liberation and your strength, the quiet revolution that shapes your journey toward peace and self-mastery. 6. The day they see you again, growth beyond their reach. Have you ever wondered what it feels like to encounter someone who is transformed so profoundly that the person you once knew seems like a distant memory, and the version standing before you is unrecognizable, not because they've changed superficially, but because they've evolved from the inside out? The day they finally start missing you is often not the day you left, not the day you went silent, but the day they see you again. And they see a version of you they can no longer reach, no longer influence, no longer control. This is a powerful and humbling moment that carries immense weight in Stoic relationships. It is the ultimate proof of growth and self-mastery, the visible outcome of choosing peace, strength, and clarity over chaos, confusion, and emotional dependency. When someone encounters this evolved version of you, it can feel like a collision with a force they didn't anticipate. A calm, radiant presence that commands respect without demanding it. A grounded spirit that reflects an inner peace they once disrupted or overlooked. Imagine walking past someone who once was part of your world, but now stands like a skyscraper where once there was only a broken house. They expect ruins, ashes, or signs of struggle, but instead, they witness strength, stability, and growth. This contrast can be jarring, stirring a complex mix of admiration, regret, and even envy. Have you ever been in a position to witness such transformation in someone from your past? What emotions did it stir in you? Stoicism teaches us that true revenge is not retaliation or bitterness, but the quiet power of self-improvement and detachment from the past. Marcus Aurelius wisely noted, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." This means that the highest form of victory is rising above old wounds, choosing dignity over drama, and embodying the virtues of wisdom, courage, and temperance. When they see you again, it is not a call to rekindle what was, but a mirror reflecting what they lost. The chance to grow alongside someone who no longer tolerates chaos or inconsistency. They realize the access they once had is gone forever because you no longer orbit their storm. You have created your own sky. This recognition is a moment of truth for them and a testament to your journey of stoicism. It forces them to confront their own role in the past, the ways they failed to value your presence, and the reasons they lost the chance to walk beside you on your path of growth. And yet, this moment is not about punishing them, but about embodying the strength that comes from choosing your own peace above all else. It is a reminder that growth is personal and that you do not need others to validate your journey. Your transformation is your own, and it is the most profound statement you can make. Have you ever felt the profound freedom that comes from no longer needing approval or recognition from those who once held power over your emotions? This freedom is the heart of Stoicism, mastering oneself so completely that external circumstances lose their hold over your spirit. When they see you again, they witness not just change, but evolution, a rising to a level of clarity and alignment they cannot reach because it requires the courage to face oneself honestly and to let go of old attachments. This is often the hardest part of Stoic relationships, the understanding that evolution means leaving behind what no longer serves growth, including people who cannot grow alongside you. This can be painful, but necessary. The day they see you again is a crossroads, a fork where paths diverge. You have moved forward, leveled up, and no longer fit into the spaces left behind. They might try to reconnect, to send tentative messages or breadcrumbs, but the dynamic has shifted irrevocably. Your peace is not negotiable, your boundaries are firm, and your energy is reserved for those who honor your growth. This is a profound shift from dependency to sovereignty. They may not always understand it immediately, but deep down, they feel the weight of what they lost, the chance to be part of a journey towards something greater. And that wait can be a catalyst for their own awakening, or it can be a source of lingering regret. Stoicism reminds us that we cannot control how others respond to our growth, only how we conduct ourselves. Your responsibility is to embody your values fully and consistently, to live authentically, and to accept that not everyone will walk with you. This acceptance is not resignation, but strength. It is the wisdom to let go without bitterness and the courage to rise without apology. As you reflect on this, consider your own growth. How has your journey transformed your relationships? Have you experienced moments where your evolution created distance but also greater peace? How do you honor your path while respecting the journeys of others? The day they finally start missing you is a milestone in this ongoing process of self-mastery and alignment. It marks the moment when your presence becomes a standard, a light that shines quietly but unmistakably. It is the day they realize they cannot reach you, not because you refuse, but because you have moved beyond old patterns and limitations. This is your true power and your lasting legacy in Stoic relationships. If you feel connected to this message and appreciate the strength found in growth and self-mastery, like this video and comment number 1 to share your support. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights into Stoicism and how to cultivate your inner peace in relationships. Your journey of transformation and empowerment continues here. In reflecting on the journey of absence, silence, and transformation, it becomes clear that the day they finally start missing you is far more than a simple moment of loss. It is a profound turning point that speaks to the depths of presence, value, and self-mastery. This day challenges the common misconception that missing is loud, immediate, or performative. Instead, it reveals that true missing is subtle, powerful, and rooted in what was never truly seen or appreciated. The calm, consistent energy of a presence grounded in virtue and peace. Through the lens of Stoicism, we learn that this silence is not emptiness, but a potent force, a reflection of boundaries respected, self-worth reclaimed, and emotional freedom earned. The breaking of routines, the failure of replacements, the haunting of memories, the power of stillness, and the visible evolution beyond past attachments all weave together to form a narrative of growth that transcends pain and drama. This journey invites us to reconsider what it means to be truly present, not merely as a person who fills a space, but as one who embodies peace, alignment, and resilience. It calls us to embrace silence as a teacher, stillness as strength, and absence as a catalyst for reflection and transformation. In Stoic relationships, missing is not about possession or control, but about the recognition of what was genuine, and the courage to live in accordance with that truth. The day they finally start missing you is therefore not a day of defeat, but a day of victory. An affirmation that your energy was rare, your presence meaningful, and your growth inevitable. As you move forward, let this understanding guide you to cultivate your own peace and boundaries with clarity and confidence. Remember, true power lies not in chasing validation or reacting to chaos, but in mastering your own mind and spirit. Embrace the quiet revolution of silence and stillness, knowing that your worth is inherent and your path is sovereign. This is the essence of Stoicism and the heart of authentic connection, living fully, growing steadily, and rising calmly beyond what once was. In this space, you embody the peace others come to miss, and the strength that never needs to shout to be heard.